Welcome to episode 122 of Star Wars and Scotch. It's Kevin with my boy Tim.
Hey.
And we're hanging out on a Wednesday morning, drinking coffee and scotch.
No.
I am.
Oh, all right. What's your scotch?
Like I've told you, it's the only way I can get the day started.
What is
it?
What scotch did you put in your coffee?
This one.
Yep. Crazy you have to. Oh, you could. Oh, he's so drunk already, chat. This is gonna be
that one.
This will be an interesting podcast.
It's delicious. Today we're talking about Bad Batch season 2, episode 12, which came out this morning or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And then Mando season 3, episode 2. Both were pretty good episodes to advance a lot going on in both parts of the timeline. So we'll dive into that in just a moment. But before we do that, with the scotch, I'm obviously drinking delicious King's Coast coffee this morning. Tim, how are you taking your coffee? Because you always have some sort of interesting, different way that you're doing it. So
it's just a standard pour over, Kevin. Please.
Oh,
I'm so sorry to disappoint that I didn't go above and beyond.
But it shows you how versatile the coffee is. That Tim can enjoy it in many different ways.
It's true. Someone commented my passion for coffee the other day, and I was like, you know what? Thanks. I'm glad you've noticed.
You are passionate about coffee.
Enjoy it.
You invest in the ability to make good coffee. And if you're buying King's Coast, that's what we suggest you do anyway. So kingscoastcoffee.com. Make sure you're part of that King Club. I keep telling you all. People message us and they're like, I missed out on. Well, sorry. We warn you every week that you should go drink delicious King's Coast coffee and join the King's Club, kingscoastcoffee.com. GCX is right around the corner. It's going to be here before you know it. The hotel block is open. You can go to gcxevent.com, book your hotel room. You can get your tickets, gcxevent.com/tickets. I will say this is the event planner. We're over 65% of the floor already sold. We already have more vendors than we did last year.
Okay.
So,
and there was a lot of people last year. So, okay.
There was 8,500 people there last year, but we already have more. And for those of you who are nostalgic about 2019, we're back on that side of the hotel. So we will have a similar setup, not the same, to what we had in 2019. And we're working on all sorts of stuff. We'll start announcing in the next few weeks. We were really, really exciting new piece of the puzzle that will how do I say this without giving it all away? It will play into the conclusion of your time in Orlando and in GCX. Tim knows what I'm talking about. So we hope you.
Yeah. So Kevin's going to have a big GCX puzzle that you guys have to do in the rotunda. Is that what you meant by like the big puzzle piece?
No, this one good. But the other thing.
Okay.
The other thing at the place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with the
that one.
Whee. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Whee. GCXevent.com/ticket. You come meet Tim.
You could come meet me.
You can meet me.
Kevin. You could meet Professor Broman.
You could meet Professor Bro. You can meet Dr. Lupo.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Remember him?
I remember him. We're fighting.
Are you fighting?
No, we're not fighting, but we haven't played video games in a while, so like chat probably assumes that we're fighting.
Yeah, that you're.
Yeah, it's just the
fighting.
ongoing joke.
Yeah, the sex was bad one night, so they just decided that they.
Yeah, you didn't pull my hair the right way, and I said enough, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he was drinking coffee, so I tried to go for something just like weird and left field, and nothing happened. I was hoping for a little spit take. Damn.
No, I forget what my wife said. She said something the other day that made me spit out my coffee. No, it was either swallow the really hot coffee real quick or spit it out, and I chose to swallow, and it burned. But it was so funny, whatever she said. So that's how good King's Coast is.
You always want to swallow.
King's Coast, swallow, don't spit.
That's so much better than murder free, Kevin. I'm telling you, that's a better tagline than murder free.
Oh my God, Tim's cat's gonna run.
King's Coast coffee. You don't want to spit.
So what part of your body did you work out today?
Legs. Nice. I fried my quads. I got out of the leg lift machine. After every set, I went, oh fuck. I got, just waddled out. It was.
Are you over 400?
It was good. On Oh, for
Presses, you
back
said,
squat
right?
for back squats?
Oh, back squats. That's what it was.
No. I was doing leg lifts this morning.
Oh, okay.
But back squats. I mean, like I'm on my way to the 400-pound club. I'm at 365.
Okay. Almost
So
there.
we're getting there, and almost the 500-pound club for leg press. So like we're getting there. We're getting there.
All right.
What'd you work out today, Kevin?
Arms and shoulders last night.
Nice.
I can't do Wednesday mornings. So arms and
Good.
shoulders last night, and then I'll do cardio and core later this afternoon. I added a second arms workout, so there's one in the plan that I'm doing, and then I have the Superman Henry Cavill one. So I split them up like 3 or 4 days apart, and I do 2 days of arms and shoulders.
Nice. You're gonna get Superman boulder shoulders.
That's what I want.
Nice.
So we'll
See what
happens.
Man, that man has amazing, just an amazing physique.
Everything. I read an article last night that the more that comes out about the woman that made The Witcher, the more I can't stand her.
Mm-hmm.
She basically said that Henry Cavill was so annoying because of his passion for The Witcher on set. Like he was beyond annoying.
It's so annoying that he wants this to be a good project.
I know. I was like, the show's gonna absolutely bomb without him.
I can't believe that he wanted it to be good. Oh,
what a terrible man. So yeah, apparently they announced too that they're going like you're gonna see stuff that's not in the books or the games, and I'm like, oh, we're making up our own stories too. Okay, all right.
Yay!
Henry leaves. I'm like, it's a disaster at this point.
They end up in America in 1945. Fuck, why is there a Witcher here during World War II?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Captain America shows up.
It's the Disney crossover with Witcher. Perfect. Awesome. And then Willow. That's their
it's their flagship show.
I'm stuck on the last episode because I've been dedicating all my time to Last of Us, or video games. So it's been
you'll get that.
Yeah, I know. I just one more episode. I got to do that, and then I got to jump back into Marvel because I'm still stuck on Miss Marvel because that show just did not land with me.
It gets better.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm like 3 episodes in.
Oh, it gets much better.
Okay, good to know. Cool. Let's talk about Bad Batch first.
Sure.
So, like you said, very action heavy.
Very action heavy,
but huge gaps being filled in because we literally saw the changeover in real time of the clone troopers being decommissioned and the stormtroopers being put into action.
It's kind of sad. He's like, what do I do now? Like, and then just like, I don't know.
Yeah, go figure it out. Talk to the Imperial Information Bureau, the IIB.
Again, they do a really good job of making you hate the Empire and feel like there are certain aspects of just like, oh, that hits a little close to home. You know, I mean, it's just like it's like when people come back from wartime. I mean, we saw this with a lot of veterans. Like they come back from war and they're like, what do I do now? And everyone's like, I don't know.
Go figure it out. And
it's just like, ugh, that's just like, it's just an ick feeling. And seeing that like in a show, it kind of just brings it home even more. It's like, oh.
So yeah, it was pretty oh, I got scratches on my glasses. Cool. Just noticed that.
So random.
Sick. So it was when they left, the way the lieutenant was talking to Crosshair, I was like, this is Crosshair's turning point one way or another. This is it. This is the episode. Because I knew we weren't going to see the Bad Batch, the rest of them in this episode. I knew that at some point, this was the turning point for him one way or another. So once the lieutenant was talking to him the way he was, I was like,
oh, yeah.
Here we go. The story did not go the way I thought it would at all.
How did you think it was going to go?
When he put on his helmet, I said, this is either the beginning of the Death Trooper program. So I think we're right about that. Or he's going to defect. And
they were on Coruscant when he was getting the mission briefing?
Yeah. Right before they locked in and went to Barton 4, I think it was called, the planet.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When they got there, I said, okay. And then we met the clone trooper. He hadn't shaved, which is against Imperial
love his
regulations.
name too. Mayday was fantastic. I love that.
He just didn't care. He just was like, whatever. So once that happened, I knew that was going to have an influence on him. And then when he said, well, everyone's dead and I've asked for help a bunch of times, I've asked for new equipment, all this stuff, and the lieutenant didn't care. I said, okay, so he's going to defect He's not going to die. You know, he's not going to die. He's too important to that part of the story. So I said he's probably going to defect. The insurgents that they ran into, at first I thought they were going to be rebels.
Oh, so in my head, I thought originally they were defected clone troopers.
That would have been interesting too. I didn't
That's
even
what
think of
I
that.
thought. That's what I thought was going to happen, is that Mayday thought that maybe his men had died. Like they went out on patrols and they never came back, and it was them actually escaping. Like they had just gotten to the point where they're just like, fuck this. Like the Empire is not coming to help us. There's going to be no help. We're stuck here. And they're just like, let's just go out. Let's just survive and do our thing. But that wasn't the case. But that's where my head was with this.
Yeah. So then I thought they were talls. You know what talls are?
No.
I'll show you talls. They're like snow creatures in Star Wars. These guys. You've seen them. So when I show you the picture, you're gonna know. Then I thought they were talls. In
Oh,
EU
I've seen these. Oh, I've seen these. Okay. I didn't know that's what they were called.
Yeah, in EU Legends, they serve the Empire. Yeah, them. And apparently they're like super vicious, which is
yeah, they look like Wookiees with a straw mouth.
So
Winter Wookiees.
I thought that might play into it. I was like, okay, maybe they're talls. But then then I thought they were droids at one point. With the way they were talking. Also, did you see the loader droid from Obi-Wan in the beginning?
Yes. Oh, that was really good.
So then I thought they were droids. Then I realized they didn't play into the plot at all. They were just stealing. And I was like, okay, where is this going? Then I remembered what he said. He said, basically, I'd leave your body. I don't care. And he's like, remind me not to die on your watch.
Yeah, I like that. That was a good line.
I'm like, all right, okay, this is going somewhere. Then I thought, okay, they're gonna freeze out there. He's gonna be Crosshair's gonna be near death, and that's how they're gonna turn him into a death trooper. Because the necrosis and all that,
him back.
Right, the necrosis and all the stuff that we've read about death troopers and whatnot. I was like, okay, maybe this is like the beginning. They want to salvage, quote unquote, him. No, I was wrong again. So it just kept going, and I'm like, all right, they get back safe. And then I was like, oh, Mayday's going to die because no one's going to help him. Once I saw that it was all stormtroopers and all the clones were gone.
Well, also the other clue for like why you felt like something bad was going to happen was when the first attack happened and he has like that PTSD moment with all the fire and whatnot. And he kind of like starts like heavy breathing and like freaking out. Like that was like the first inclination. I was like, something's not right here. Like something bad's going to happen. Either his chip's malfunctioning or, he's just like, he's snapped. He's reached his breaking point. It was, yeah, I really liked seeing that in Crosshair. It made him feel more vulnerable.
Yeah. And he had frostbite on his head. So I was like, okay, this is going to, but he put Mayday and all the other armor. So you were seeing compassion from him probably for the first time.
Well, because he saw before he got that briefing, when he had his helmet off, he saw how that clone was being treated.
Right.
He was like there at that moment, he was like, oh, this sucks. Like they're my brothers, it's like, well, like I'm okay. And they're getting kicked to the curb. And so then again, that level of compassion was shown, which I liked. Again, it made him feel vulnerable. It made him feel more just human. It made him feel like he wasn't just a soldier.
Yep. So at the end, obviously, he shoots the lieutenant. Kind of saw that coming once they started talking.
Lieutenant was an ass. I'm glad he died. Like they did a really good job of making, like they've done through the entirety of this show. They have done one thing really, really well. Well, I guess two. One, it's just like a fun thing to watch. Two, they really make you hate the Empire.
Yeah.
Which they haven't really done in other shows. Like we've always joked like, oh, the Empire didn't do anything wrong. But like in this, it really, really makes the Empire look like the bad guys. Like it really brings that, just like they are the villains. It's good.
The other thing they've done, and this is something they've been doing for a while, is this feels like the culmination of the humanizing of the clones. This feels like the pinnacle of it. We've reached the mountaintop of whatever happens over the next 4 or 3 episodes, whatever it is that's left, will be the pinnacle of that part of the story.
Yeah. And we know from
I have a feeling these next few episodes are gonna play heavy.
They have to be. They have to be some of the most impactful episodes because they set the scene about Omega last episode when they said that she's the key to all of this. Like they brought a lot more attention and a lot more weight to Omega being a part of the show now, which is nice because when they introduced her, it was kind of like all over the place. Like we knew that like the only like big piece of information we knew about Omega is that she is the direct copy of Boba. Like they're one and the same. They're the Alpha and Omega. He's Alpha and she's Omega. So like that's really cool. And so like I would love to see that tie into the Book of Boba Fett of somehow. Because I feel like there's still a lot more to be told there. I would love to see more, unless they kill off Omega at the end, which could possibly be. They've got to tie it all up, unless there's going to be a third season? Question mark?
Maybe, but it wouldn't have anything to do with this story, in my opinion. Even if there was a third season, I feel like.
Well, then it couldn't be the Bad Batch then.
Well,
I don't think it could be the Bad Batch because the Bad Batch was their code name for Clone Force 99.
Yeah, they could still be Clone Force 99.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bad Batch is also like the bad, like they were the bad batch of clones.
Yeah, right. But they were the only group that were genetically modified.
Yeah, so I'm reading Queen's Hope, the Amidala book.
Oh yeah, how's that?
It's interesting. Like one of the clones. So they were talking about one of the clones, and they call her sister. I was like, oh, there's a female clone. That's interesting. But then they're saying she's transgender. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But at first I was like, oh, are there other, because the way they were talking, it was her and Anakin.
Uh-huh.
And the way they were talking was like almost like there was genetic modification that did happen.
Uh-huh.
And then they alluded to the fact that she was transgender.
I'm
wondering if there's,
because of the clones?
Well, that's where I was confused. Is it sounded like it was a choice because they did say, you know, what gender you identify as, whatever. But it also, she said something about genetic modification, and I didn't know if that was just clones in general or that. So it was just an interesting.
It would be interesting to see if a clone like went out and had that done on like shore leave. But I wonder if that like does that go against like to get like tattoos or like anything like that, like while you're like a part of
they get tattoos.
Oh, you're right, because they have, yeah. So then I guess that would fall under that, because in that timeline, like their modifications, their body modifications are very easy to do. It seems like so, like to have a clone that is transgender, that would probably be easy to pull off.
But the way she said genetic modification made me think that maybe she was modified. That maybe
by the Kaminoans.
I don't know. Like they didn't really go into it. It was just kind of a conversation in passing with Anakin. So it was interesting to think that there might be other modified genetic clones out there, or genetically modified clones out in the system somewhere that were decommissioned now that they could find. Like with Echo wasn't genetically modified; he was engineered, like from bio and like any other whatchamacallit, a cyborg in Star Wars. So right. it's just interesting to think that maybe there's other ones out there, and they're not the only 5.
Right.
That were genetically modified. So that could be season 3 too as well. But we'll see where they go. But the ending was probably the most interesting part. We saw the assistant to the doctor that we met in the last episode, Dr. Hemlock, that's his name, who is running the facility on Tantus, the cloning facility. Now, initially, you could all say, oh, they're going to clone Crosshair. Tim and I do not think that.
I don't think so.
We think he is patient 0 for the Death Trooper program.
Yeah, I'm still holding on to that.
I feel like the end of that episode is the irrefutable proof that he is patient 0. Yeah, because she was alluding to the fact that whatever they're going to do to him is going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, it kind of like reminds me of like Picard when he becomes Borg almost. Yeah,
and I could see them not wanting to put that into a live action scenario because kids do watch. And if you put that in live action.
Just real quick, Kyler was watching Mando with me today. So I just want you to know that. Like, he actually like stood there and started asking questions like, where is that? Who is this? I was like, that's Bo-Katan. He's like, oh, Bo-Katan. Is she a Boba Fett? I'm like, no, she's a Mandalorian. Oh, she's a Mandalorian. I just like, kids do watch it. It was actually really fun.
His thought process is right though. Is she a Boba Fett? Because he just didn't know the terminology, so
Mm-hmm.
he knows that they're all alike.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways,
so yeah, and we watched Mandalorian. And Hunter was like, "Wake me up every week. I want to watch Mandalorian with you in
that's
the
so
morning."
cool,
So okay.
man.
So I think they know kids are watching, and I think the Death Trooper, fine to see with all their armor on, but
Yeah.
once you take the veil back, I think they're going to relegate that to comics, animated, and books.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a little much. But I
yeah.
mean, like we did
So
see like a floating eye inside a robot today. So I mean, like,
we're going to talk about that. That
yeah,
was
I'm just saying. I mean, like there is some Dr. Frankenstein stuff going on in Star Wars right now.
and we know that from the modders from Book of Boba Fett
Yeah.
too.
Uh-huh.
So it was very interesting to see that at the end. So Tim and I truly believe that this is the beginning of the
Yeah.
Death Trooper program. That he
I
is
think so.
Patient Zero.
Because
Crosshair.
it would flow really nicely into Rogue One. Is
Yes.
like just because of the timeline and like where we are. Like if he starts the Death Trooper program and then he gets assigned to, like Tarkin or like the Emperor, like whatever, like it would like, and then it would flow perfectly into that.
Does the Emperor have Death Troopers assigned to him?
No, he's got the Imperial Guards.
I was gonna say, yeah. He's
Yeah,
only got Imperial
but like
Guards.
only Moffs had, Moffs or high-ranking officials had Death Troopers.
Yeah, because Krennic has Death Troopers too.
Right,
He's not a Moff.
but he was given Death Troopers because of his importance for the energy program.
Did Galen?
Galen Urso, I don't know. He did not. There would be no reason unless they were sent there to watch him, but they were not like he
They
wouldn't
don't
have his
seem
own.
like they don't seem like that type. I think they would just use stormtroopers.
Yeah, remember like Vader, even like Vader had his own.
The only other thing that I think can happen, and I do not think this is it. I still maintain the Death Trooper thing. Is somehow he'll be genetically modified to be a purge trooper.
I don't.
But I'm on the Death Trooper train.
I don't think you need to. I mean, like, but
or trained or something modified to fight and hunt Jedi.
that could be interesting. But I think Purge. Now I'm curious. Now I'm curious to see like what is the actual
Death
canon.
makes way more sense. I'm just throwing out another thought that passed through when I was watching.
Yeah, I don't know, Kevin. That's an interesting thought. I'm gonna hold on to Death Trooper. That's
I'm
my
with you.
feeling. Yeah,
I'm with you. I just want to throw that out there because I thought of it and I said, well, maybe they did something to him specifically to hunt Jedi.
yeah.
That would be it with the Inquisitors, obviously. So, but I don't know. Death Trooper sounds way more interesting, cool, and lore that we haven't touched, aside from knowing what they are and whatnot.
Yeah, so okay, just real quick, looking at like the Purge Trooper entry on fandom.
Mm-hmm.
It says Purge Troopers were a variant of stormtroopers that were tasked with hunting down Jedi Knights that had survived Order 66. Originally composed of clone troopers, they were eventually supplemented and replaced by non-clone human recruits drawn from the Stormtroopers Corps. So they're just like special forces.
Okay.
So I would just say they're just like the elite stormtroopers. Which would then I don't even like so then so I would be really curious to see how the hierarchy of these like the stormtrooper program works now, because you've got just basic ass stormtroopers, and then you've got like purge troopers, you've got death troopers, and everything in between. So it's just like who does what, who's like how do you get put into those programs? I'm very, very intrigued. I'm sure at some point, or if it hasn't been done already, like the different rankings for this.
We will find out. Oh, you know who else had Death Troopers? Remember Minister Hayden from the end of Rebels when they're uncovering the Veil of the Force?
Yes.
He had Death Troopers with him too.
Yeah, again, it's like high-ranking officials, people who are like super important.
I wonder if, because we don't see them after in like Aftermath and stuff, to my recollection.
What?
Death Troopers, some aside
no,
from
because they were like a small group already. Like they were like
Gideon has a few left over, I think.
He might. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he did in that scene.
I don't remember.
Where he like lined everyone up. I think he had a few.
Oh no, Gideon. Oh, sorry. Yes, in Boca in Mando, he in
Yeah.
season 1 at the end they do fight Death Troopers. Yeah, so he had like 2 or 3. So yeah, the idea of Death Troopers still being assigned to their Moffs, and some of the Moffs are still alive. We know that from Aftermath. We know that from the Mandalorian. So like the idea of like Death Troopers still being out there 100%, but like I would assume the program itself died with the fall of the Empire.
So here's my theory: is the reason we don't hear about them in Aftermath because with that group of admirals and moffs and ministers and whatnot that are always fighting with each other in
Yeah.
Aftermath,
Uh-huh. That council.
we
Yeah.
don't hear about them having Death Troopers. So I'm sure the program got shut down because they couldn't make more of them because they probably lost the facility at Tantus or wherever they were producing them. And that's why they just die out in the story. Is there's no
Well,
way to
also
make
there
more
was
Death
no
Troopers.
there was no Death Troopers in the original trilogy movies, and
Right.
we see admirals all the time, and there was no Death Troopers assigned to admirals. Also, we never got to see Death Troopers with Grand Moff Tarkin, but I mean, like one we've only ever seen him on the bridge, so we could assume that like they just didn't follow him onto the bridge.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like I think that's the way they kind of like clear that up is like that's why they only like the Moffs have them or like the hiring officials because you don't ever really see them, except for like a few
These are the
points.
pitfalls of telling a story out of order over 40 something
It's
years.
really there's a lot of things you have to be careful with. You have to treat it with a lot of respect.
But how do you pass up a cool opportunity like putting Death Troopers in the story? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree with you.
You got to. You got to. So, interested to see how Bad Batch wraps this up because I have a feeling this is gonna be like the end of the last season of Clone Wars, where we're in for a wild ride of the story of how the clones get decommissioned fully,
Yeah,
and how they fight back. Because I have a feeling not all of them are gonna. Well, we know not all of them sit on their ass,
right.
and retire. We know that for a fact.
It is very interesting storytelling from Filoni, where it's just like slow, ramp up, and it's like the last 3 or 4 episodes, you're just like, oh shit, I need more of this. Give it.
Yeah,
So.
I feel like we shifted into third gear, and we're about to.
Yeah,
keep
with
shifting up
Crosshair shooting the Imperial official, like that took us over the threshold.
Yep. So we will see where we land next week. Let's take a break. We'll be back in a few minutes, pay some bills, and we're going to talk about Mando Season 3, Episode 2. Be right back. We're back! This episode was really good. Apparently, we're not side questing, Tim. We're just
I know. But I also love that it was R5D4. Like that was just like that was fantastic. Like I'm glad that they used him. We knew that he was gonna show up. We just didn't know that he was gonna go see Peli like right off the rip. So I'm really glad that they didn't use IG. I'm glad they kind of just like that was fun, but at the same time, this makes me hate the first episode even more.
I still think we're gonna see IG.
I think so too, but like it felt like there was like all of this happened for like nothing. That first episode was a bunch of just like rehashing of things to make you remember. Like, hey, remember IG is still there. Hey, remember the Children of the Watch are still a thing, and they're growing. And hey, remember Mando's got to go over to Mandalore.
I think it was. I will wait till the end of the season before I say that because we got introduced to the pirates who absolutely have a role to play. In all of this.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about if I'm going from last week to this week. I loved this episode like so much. Like, oh my God, from start to finish. Yeah, it's just a night and day like experience where I was kind of like last week's episode. I was like, all right, okay, this is fun, but it's just like I didn't get the Mandalorian experience that I wanted. And in this episode, I got everything that I wanted. I thought it was great. Also, shout out to Katie Sackhoff. We got to figure out how to get her on the show. We've hung out with her before. I would love to try to get her on the show. But she I can text her. She fucking owned this episode, dude. She crushed this episode. Like it was hers the entire way through. It was awesome. I thought she did a great job. The only part that I didn't like is like, why is she still just moping on her throne every time? It's just like last week she was like, I'm sad. This week she's like, I'm sad. It's just like,
if you were the ruler of all that,
go pick some fruit or something. Bo-Katan's being really mopey. Why didn't she go? She should go do painting. Do some clay work.
sometimes people get depressed, and Emo Catan just was not. She wanted to just sit in her little castle and listen to My Chemical Romance and cry about it. So
I'm
it is what it is.
sorry. But
No,
yeah.
this episode was fantastic. I was like, when we saw Pelly, I always get excited to see Pelly, so that was fun. But I was
She's
like,
fun,
oh
dude.
shit, are we grabbing Boba already to go do stuff with us? And even they made a joke about that because she was like, "Are you here to blah 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 with Boba Fett?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, okay, tell me more." Also, the Jawa little trick they have, I was laughing so hard.
She
Like,
can get it done in 5 minutes. Let's go.
All right, bring it in. She told him 2 months.
It was really good.
She's like, go find another speeder to break.
Yeah, and so we figure out the fireworks for the Bunta. Like,
The Bunta Eve.
So that was really cool. They brought that back. Kind of just like work that back into the storytelling and just like making Tatooine, like just more cohesive. I guess we'll never ever get away from this damn sandy planet. So might as well enjoy it while we're there. And Pelly definitely makes it more enjoyable. I just love her and her little band of robots. They're like my favorite thing. I love seeing BD, seeing a BD droid there, seeing pit droids. It's just like all the really fun droids that you've come to know and love. Like R5, like it's so cool. Like that's from episode 4. Like, and I love that they continue making the joke about R5. Like this droid's falling apart. Like that's the same droid that we met with Luke, and his freaking top blows off. Like it's really cool that they just keep that going.
He's also scared of everything.
He's a nervous little droid.
He just goes like this when he doesn't want to do stuff. It's his head back and forth. I was like, this droid's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was going to survive the whole episode. I was like, there's no way they're letting R5
You can't
die.
kill him. No, oh my God, he's an icon.
Unless
Everyone knows R5.
Unless he has a beyond epic death like IG-11.
Yeah, but I don't think you can kill. I don't think you can kill R5. That's like killing R2D2. R2D2 never died. He just always got fried, and he always got repaired.
Only character to be in all 9 movies.
Yeah, he just. Well, I mean, C-3PO.
I think there's one he's not in. I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure he's in every single one.
Is he in episode? Yeah, he has no casing on episode 1. He's just wires. Yeah.
I would say
So
C-3PO and R2D2 are probably the only ones that continue in every single movie.
Did you ever watch the YouTube video about how R2D2 is the character? Like everything falls apart in throughout the entire storyline without R2D2.
Yeah. They
Like,
can't open a door without him. They can't
little things that would have made everything go disastrously wrong if R2D2 wasn't around. It's so good.
Yep.
Basically,
yeah, he carries the weight of the franchise on his shoulders.
It's the idea that R2D2 is the Samwise Gamgee of this story. Like, without Samwise, Frodo's dead.
Yep.
Well, he's not dead. He's probably a wraith. Without R2D2, we can't kill Palpatine. So
Sam, Frodo.
It's mine.
But I'm so we get R5, and then we head off to Mandalore, which is just like
I was shocked.
I thought that was crazy. We just went right there.
Now, granted, I think we're going to be back and forth.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
I love that he was like, Concordia, that's the moon I grew up on. I was like, nod to Death Watch. So that was cool.
Yeah. Seeing a planet glassed has always been one of my fantasies. So I'm really happy that we got to see that.
That's dark.
Well, I mean, okay, so in any type of space sim that I've ever played, I've always wanted to glass a planet. I just want to pull up with a big battleship, and I just want to glass the planet. And
have you played Eve?
No, I've played a lot of Halo.
So Eve would be where you would fulfill that fantasy.
Oh, but I don't want to mine. That's my problem. Is I played Eve for like a trial, and I mined the entire time.
You don't have to be the miner. So what you'd want to do is find a guild that already exists. Tell them and they have to be open to this. Tell them what you want to do, and then you want to be a warship or something like that, and then they'll put resources into your ship and build it up, and then you can go around and glass planets.
Oh, sick. I'll get back to you on that one.
Because everyone in Eve has a job. So your ships have different jobs. Eve also had an alien invasion happen during the pandemic, which I thought was the smartest thing. They would just hit a button. They were like, sorry, you're all under attack now. And
so
these
good.
NPC aliens just descended on the entire galaxy. And everyone was like, what the hell is going on?
I want to experience that.
It was nuts. It was all of the, like
so
gaming
cool.
news and stuff. How the people in Eve, like people were losing because Eve currency
It's
equates to
it's real money.
dollars.
Uh-huh.
People were losing thousands of dollars, millions and billions of whatever the currency is in Eve over this alien invasion. It was
Whoa.
hilarious. I was watching
Wow.
on Twitch. It was just nuts. And a game's boring as hell to watch, but watching people freak out because they can't control this, and the developers are just like, so
Give me that
good
in
stuff.
Star Wars, goddammit.
Seriously.
So
So
yeah, so we saw the surface completely just glassed over. These neutron bombs they used just completely leveled the planet, which was like wild to see. All
craters.
these big craters with big glass shards sticking out and stuff, and it was like all this like green jade looking. It was really cool. And then we get down to like the one place that we all know and love, the inside of the Mandalorian dome in the Capitol in the Civic Center. Like that was
Sundari City.
that was so cool to see, because like it was just like that was the last time that we saw that. It was beautiful, right? It was
Yep.
I mean, mostly beautiful. I mean, like it was right after Darth Maul and his Mandalorian crazy psychopath zealots went on a killing spree, and so like things were on fire and Ahsoka was kicking ass and stuff. So I mean, but it was still whole. And to see just nothing but rubble and shards of metal and whatnot,
Yeah,
it was wild.
We don't go to Sundari in Rebels. We go to outposts in Rebels, right?
Right. We don't make it inside.
Right. Okay.
Like you see it and you talk to Sabine's parents and stuff, but I don't think you actually get inside the Capitol.
Yeah.
Correct us if we're wrong. Chat. You can go ahead and do it. That's fine. But I don't remember going there.
Because Sabine's castle is like all the way out in the middle of nowhere in the snow.
In the snowy area. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the place that they deal with the Duchess and all that stuff is in like a desert area when they save her dad.
Yeah, it's more desert like and whatnot, because everything that was in the desert was like covered in those domes to save them from all the harshness of that area, of that biome.
The last time we see Sundari is when Darth Maul's getting locked up.
Yep.
And the ominous music is playing as the Empire's, well, still the Republic, slowly occupies Mandalore and under the Mandalorian's nose, and they don't even realize what's happening.
Yep.
So
I love the nod to her dad when she was talking about how like she comes from like a royal family, and then she talked about like how her dad like gave his life for Mandalore, and then Mando's like, this is the way. And it was just like, it was a good death and things like that. It's really interesting to see like the two, like the comparing sides of like the Mandalore, quote unquote, the Mandalorian way, where he's like, he's all about the mysticism and like the spirituality of being Mandalorian, because like that's what he knows. And she's all about like the real political governing part of it, because that's what she knows. And to see these two sides kind of conflict and kind of like bash heads, like you can see why Death Watch became a thing. Because of like how they want to go about ruling their planet versus how the Kreese family wanted to go about ruling the planet and the people and governing.
You see the dichotomy of Mandalorian society and exactly what she described. It's fractured, and people fight over the dumbest things. And we see that in a lot of cultural, religious. It's very reflective of real life. But one thing I noticed in this episode was Din has become so religious, for lack of a better term, and he's an extremist. And Bo has become so disillusioned that she doesn't believe in anything.
Yes.
Anymore. Nothing.
Yeah. She's lost hope.
And the whole point of what's going to happen this season, in my opinion, and what the end of this episode really showed me, is like you need to meet in the middle if you want to rebuild Mandalorian society.
Right.
Because there's some stuff you're right about, and there's some stuff we're right about.
Agreed.
And that's, I think, where the story is going, because the way she read that plaque when they got down to the living waters was so like eye rolling, sarcastic, and all that stuff. And then
I liked how the mine used to be an old mythosaur cave or dwelling.
Well, it wasn't the mine; it was the living water was an old mythosaur. That's a whole separate area.
Where they were at, that whole area, the living waters area in the mines, was an old mythosaur den, which I thought was really cool. And how she's talking about like it's from the first age of Mandalore, and how Mandalore the Great is the one that was down here, and like all that stuff. That was neat. That was really, really cool. Can we just get to the part after that?
The part after, we can talk out of order. The part after that was so impactful, because now you have to go back to the armorer's prophecy, Well,
Uh-huh.
it's not her prophecy. It's just Mandalorian prophecy. First of all, we know that helmet is not Mandalore the Great's helmet.
No,
It's just a
but
generic.
I thought that was really cool when he just like picked it up and then this freaking robot just grabs him. That was so surprising. That was wild. That entire sequence was just nutty.
We'll talk about that in a second because I that was beyond interesting to me. But at the end, so the I knew you knew he was gonna get pulled down by something,
I don't think he
but
got pulled down by anything. I think what happened is that he was walking because he was already still kind of incapacitated from the drug that he was administered. He was kind of just like slowly walking down the steps. And when she dives down, those steps are gone. So I think what
Yeah, it's just
happened
a
was like
drop.
he was already like super like tired and heavy. And I'm sure Beskar just sinks. So as soon as he missed that step, he just went and fell down. So she goes diving after him.
Well,
And
he definitely bathed in the water. Well,
oh,
we got that done.
he done sunk in the water. That was that entire. I didn't think she was gonna find him. I figured he had gotten like washed away or whatever. But yeah, to your point, I thought he got grabbed. I thought he was pulled down by someone. I was like, watch, it's gonna be another one of those mutant creatures that's gonna come yanking him down. And he had sunk pretty far because it took her a while to get down there. And then she pulls him up and sees something really cool. An eye opens up, this massive freaking eye. I'm like, what the hell could this thing be? And then you see the horns. You see the freaking horns, Kevin. There's a mythosaur that's still alive.
Which means that it heralds a new age for Mandalore. That is what the prophecy says, and that a new Mandalore will be seated on the throne, a new Mandalore the Great.
And that prophecy was told to us at the beginning of the first season,
1.
the first episode.
Which is awesome. And I think that's it. I love the mystery. Like, we're not going to see the mythosaur again.
No, I don't think so.
It was just there to signify
or
the new
it'll
age.
be an Avatar moment where like Mando's like in this like crazy trouble and the mythosaur comes busting through and helps him fight whatever they're fighting at the end.
I don't know, because there's not a ton of, like, aside from the skull that we know, there's not a ton of imagery, even from EU. There's people that have drawn based on accounts and things like that.
Well, that's cool though. That means that they have the ability now to fully create, just like they did with the dragon. Like now with the Krayt Dragon, now they have the ability to fully create a mythosaur.
Well, we had seen the Krayt Dragon in the video games.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that though. The Krayt Dragons that were in KOTOR versus the Krayt Dragon that we saw in. I know, but I'm just saying,
2003 video game.
Yeah, I agree. They had a lot more artistic freedom to go about creating this big dragon.
I would prefer it just be a symbol of the heralding of the new age and leave it where it is.
I want Mando riding this goddamn mythosaur by the end of this season. God damn it!
It is possible because what's his face from season 1 also said your ancestors rode the great mythosaurs into battle. And you can't ride the blurg, you weak ass punk.
Oh man. Kuil.
Yeah, it was funny on the roadcaster I'm trying to set up. It has sound clips put in there, and one of them is "This is the way," and the other one is "I have spoken." So, so it really depends where it's going. I still don't think Din is the one to rule Mandalore.
I don't think so either. I think honestly, watching Bo use the Darksaber, I forgot because I was like, watch, she's gonna have a hard time. And when she was just like, she's just wielding it just like a normal sword, and I was like, oh yeah, she did have it for a while.
So the point of those Alamites and the other creatures that we saw was to say, like, there is still life on Mandalore, and even though a lot of these creatures have descended into the depths, because they I don't remember if I read it because I looked it up. They lived on the plains of Mandalore before out in the outskirts. I think Bo actually says it to Grogu. So there's life. Like, it's flourishing, it's going on. It's not, the planet is not in the shape, like Bo was right.
Yeah.
So, and again, this is where the two ideals clash. Bo was right. The planet is not cursed, even though she was like, well, it is still kind of cursed.
She's like, look at this shit.
But then, she's a skeptic and she's like, oh, the mythosaur. And then she's in the water like, oh my God, like it's right there.
Yeah.
Maybe the prophecy is true. So it's fun to mix practicality with the mysticism of it all
Mhm.
and see where the cards are going to fall.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mandalorian clans don't get along with each other too well. We know that
No.
very well.
Yeah.
But at some point, to unite the people, there needs to be a strong leader that's willing to, see all sides and work with all sides. So I don't want to say this is the redemption of Death Watch because Death Watch did some pretty messed up shit,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling that part of them will come to the now. I still think Paz Vizsla is going to make another pass at the dark saber at some
Oh,
point.
100%. He's going to do something shady.
It's just a matter of who he's going to make it against. So it really comes down to, where is this going? And honestly, at this point, I don't know where they're going, and I kind of like that. I'm out of like the ability to project here because they took a hard right turn away from what I thought it was going to be. So now I'm
Yeah.
like, well, where is this headed?
Mhm. Yeah. I really didn't think we were going to see Mandalore for another episode or two. So that was
No.
like really surprising. So now we've got a lot. There's a lot of mystery now. You're right. It's really they definitely threw us for a curveball because I feel like we started to get their formula down. Like I feel like last season we kind of had a feeling for how the pacing was going to be and like what they were going to do. But yeah, you're right. I really have no idea what the hell's going to happen next because now we've got Bo and Mando back together, and they seem to kind of be like buddy buddy to a certain degree. She does say like when the Naboo fighter shows up, she's like, let's just get rid of him once and for all. And so it's like she's still kind of pissed off with him, but at the same time, I think she now understands that like, hey, like he's trying to do it for the right reasons. So
You kick the door open because now they're going to go around and tell all the clans Mandalore is not poisoned.
oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, huge
We
rally.
need to return, we need to rebuild, and we need to reunite. So
Mhm.
you have the children of the children of the Watch, right?
Yep.
It's the Watch. I always
The
say
Watch.
the way because of the other thing.
Right.
Children of the Watch,
Yep.
Clan Ren. This is how Sabine comes into everything.
Mm-hmm.
Clan Fett, if that's a thing
I mean,
in Disney universe. Either way, we're going to see Boba Fett because there was no reason.
it's gonna happen because he's a foundling. Like
And the way he said, like, look at my chain code in Book of Boba Fett, or not Book of Boba Fett in season 2 of Mando, was pretty much like, yeah, I'll be back. Don't worry.
hey, he's like, I have claim to this.
So Clan Fett, and then I'm sure we're gonna meet new folks.
Yeah,
that
I
are
mean,
gonna
like
be
the
introduced to the story.
Sabine showing up makes so much sense.
Oh,
She,
100%.
yeah, I mean, like she comes from a prestigious house. I mean, for her to not be involved, especially when like if there's like a call to arms for all Mandalorians to come back, like why wouldn't she answer the call? Like, of course she. If it was like across all channels, yeah, most definitely, she'd hear it and she'd come running.
And then the other one that is what's her face that was with Gar Saxon.
Oh yeah,
can't
that's right.
remember her
Keep on
name.
forgetting about the crazy bitch.
Yeah, I have a feeling because the way they ended things with her, they just kind of like hung it like she's still alive.
Yeah,
So I have a feeling she will probably come back to be a problem child in all of this,
most definitely.
create havoc along with the watch and whatnot. So there's a lot of pieces at play. I would be interested to see. So there's an opportunity here to go big on the KOTOR route too, and introduce Clan Ordo. If you remember Canderous from KOTOR 1.
I don't.
So he's the Mandalorian that joins your party on the ship, and he tells all the stories of killing Jedi and the Jedi.
Is he the one?
Mandalorian
Is he the
Wars.
gunslinger?
Yeah, he's got the huge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's Canderous
Yeah.
Ordo, and then you play his relative or you don't play, you meet his relative.
It has been so long since I played KOTOR.
So they could introduce Clan Ordo, which would be Legends people would be like, ah. So,
Star Wars action.
yeah, like lots of opportunity to kind of kick the door open when it comes to Mandalorians, establish them, get them back in it. That way, moving forward, if this movie post episode 7 and all that stuff, we start to see their society and how they play into it, and maybe the First Order tries to come after them again, and they're like, no, not this time, sorry. Just opens up so much more if we can just reestablish Mandalorian society back to the way it was, not the way Satine wanted it to be. Because it's nice as Satine's little happy-go-lucky vision of everything on Mandalore being good. That's just not who they are. It's not.
Yeah, I think now that all of the entirety of that planet is gone, I see them going back to more basic style of living. I agree.
So
Because you can't be neutral. You have to be aggressive. if your defenses are down like that, you're not prosperous and you're just trying to survive. Like you have to be vicious to a certain degree.
Yep.
That's what they're good at.
Before we get out of here, I want to talk about that droid.
Which the medical droid.
The medical droid.
The thing was terrifying. Have we ever seen anything like that before?
Yes.
We have.
What's his face? Oh my God, what's his name?
I don't know.
Kenobi. What's his name? The droid, leader of the clone army.
Oh,
General Grievous.
Oh, dude, I did not know you were going with just a gruffy Kenobi. Like I was like, that could be anybody.
General Grievous is.
Oh
organic.
my God, the eye. Is that what that's from?
I know because the eye looked more human. General Grievous has like those cat-like eyes. So, but General Grievous from here is a Kalish.
Right.
The rest of him is
cyborg.
Right.
But we've never seen that kind of droid before.
Never seen that, but
okay.
The idea that an organic is just a small component of a larger cyborg.
Generally, yeah, for sure. Most definitely. Agreed.
So I am curious if it's if it's what's left of a Mandalorian.
Yeah, but why was it there? So I have a lot of questions. Why was it there?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it before? And how does that work? Because like it had like 3 different forms. It had like the little pod with the little like crab legs, and then it had the like attack dog style like thing with like the fins on the back, and then it became a big spider. It was so cool. I wonder who came up with the idea for that, because it was very very steampunky. Like it was really like steampunk in Star Wars. Never really thought that could work, but here we are. That was really cool.
Yeah, and it was very hard to kill too, because it like
it just kept coming back,
and then like had all these different forms and stuff. It was pretty wild. But the best explanation I have for you is it's some sort of organic cyborg hybrid. I mean, now it's dead. Similar to the way General Grievous is just Kalish,
right?
Basically just his brain
from his
and
head
part
down,
of his face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's
and his heart.
I wonder if that's like they'll never tell the story outside of maybe a blurb in a book or a comic.
It's gonna show up in a comic book for sure.
Yeah, like 8 years from now.
Yeah. And, that's a thing from Mando, Kevin.
Yeah, we'll be like, what? Do you remember that episode of Mandalorian?
The mayonnaise emporium? What?
When we're sitting around the retirement home. There it is. I was right. It used to be a person. Oh my God.
Shut up, you old fart.
Fuck you.
Eat your applesauce.
So yeah. So I don't know.
We're in for a ride. We're in for one hell of a ride.
Yeah, they you remember how you said like where Dave Filoni loves first to sixth, the gears. I was like, I feel like they just went into 5th gear in this episode. They were like, buckle up.
Okay, but remember when they did that though in season 2, and it was just like it went roof.
But even then, it took like 3 or 4 episodes for them to do that. This one seems like, no, this story's too good to tell.
That's the whole thing. I wonder, are we just going to be just full throttle the whole time?
I feel like John is almost like, this is a movie, and when you watch it back, it'll just play like a movie. Like that's 5 hours long.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling is, we're not side questing this season. Sorry.
It doesn't feel like it. No, it definitely feels like it's just main
to relate it to a video game. It's like when the game asks you, like, do you want to do anything else? Because you can't do anything.
Like, no, bitch, go. I hate that pop-up.
I do too, but I'm always the guy that's momentarily has a panic attack and it's like, oh, did I do everything? Did I get as strong as I can? Let me go check the map and make sure I didn't leave
and me on the other hand is just like, let's go. And I'm like, I'm the guy that has no armor, no guns, and wants to fight the boss right off the rip.
Tim, you must be stealth for this mission. Yeah, fuck you.
Boom.
Watching you play Hitman was one of the joys of my life.
Oh, I'm terrible at it. I'm so bad at Hitman.
You could not be an assassin if you tried.
I mean, assassin for me would just be a very large bomb. Everything died within a 5-mile radius. Perfect stealth.
I glassed the planet. No one knew I was there.
No one knew I was there.
Anything else from this episode you want to touch on? I think we pretty much got Grogu was cute and like,
Grogu is
mature.
adorable. I love that he knows how to do a force jump.
Yes.
But so do you want to know why he knows how to do a force jump?
Yeah, why?
Did you know that Grogu and Luke trained for 2 years?
In the Book of Boba Fett part?
Yeah.
That was 2 years.
That was 2 years. Filoni said that the other day. And I was like,
it makes sense because look at how built up Navarro is. That would make plenty of sense.
it makes a lot of sense. I wish they would have just said that. I hate that. I hate in Star Wars storytelling that they don't have a clear timeline on the movie. Like there's no dates.
He seems a lot more comfortable with the Force.
He is, because he's trained with Luke for 2 years. And I think that's, and then if you go back, it makes the decision even more like heart-wrenching. The idea that he's been with Luke for 2 years, like that's been his caretaker, that's been his teacher, his friend. And then it's like, you have to make a decision. Do you go the path of the Jedi or the path of the Mandalorian? And it's just like, that now knowing that it wasn't just like, oh, you were with Master Luke for a couple of days. He was with him for a long time. So yeah. I just wish they would have told us that. But again, it makes a lot of sense, like how Navarro changed so quickly, how Grogu is now so much more comfortable with the Force. Like we're gonna see him do more stuff. We saw him like manipulating like the candies and then like doing the Force jumps. But at one point there in the trailer, he like does like a Force throw. He like throws something like very effortlessly. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see like how Grogu continues to build up in his ability. But you saw like there was a moment of almost anger and doubt when Bo told him to like, you have to show me, where he's at. And he kind of like, he got grumpy about it. He even like kind of growled. I'm like, ah. I was like, ooh, that's some fear and
the Force.
Yep.
Like it's just like the extension of him now.
But he has emotions. And so like, that's not the Jedi way. And so this, again, I think Grogu is going to end up being kind of like a wayfinder. He's going to be like that. He's going to be a gray Jedi for essentially.
He's going to be Tar Vizsla, which is the first.
Yeah, he's going to be a hybrid.
Yeah, Tar Vizsla was the first to wield the Force and be a Mandalorian, which will be interesting to see how they play that into where the story's going.
It just goes back to that one little concept art, that fan art, where it's Grogu all grown up and he's got Mandalorian armor, or he's got part Mandalorian armor that's like sitting there, and he's doing the Force levitation thing with the ball from the Razor Crest.
I wonder if he goes back and sees Luke again. Maybe he has like anger issues at some point.
Oh my god, like he does the whole Obi or the Yoda thing where he keeps going
Din
back.
Doesn't know how to help him control it, so they take him back to Luke, and Luke's like, I told you I can't train him, and and then Luke realizes how much of a threat he could be if he at least doesn't teach him how to like control his anger. And then we see a little
ooh, Kevin, I love this.
Ben Solo running around.
Ooh, Kevin, I love this.
And some of the other characters from remember the Kylo Ren comic that we meet?
Yeah, and his temple would be more built up too.
So we can meet younger versions of them, and he's like, I need you to help him control his anger. Luke's like, no, I told you I won't train him, blah, 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 blah. And then Ahsoka's there, and she's like, come on, if you don't, he could be worse.
Oh, the fan service episode, good.
I'm down for that.
I mean, like,
who knows? That could be an episode in Ahsoka for all we know.
I mean, like, I think we know that
they love that stuff.
Well, that's the whole thing, is every time that we've had like a new show, for the most part, that is introduced within the same timeline, we always end up seeing that character dropped into something else. So like for Ahsoka to show up again to promote the Ahsoka show, it would make sense. Like we first got Rosario Dawson in Ahsoka to showcase like, hey, this person's still here. We're introducing Thrawn. I want you to know what's coming up. Okay, now let's redo it again to get you super excited for the show that's coming out in a few months.
Yeah, and then they showed the Purgle in the last episode, so they're laying the groundwork. Sabine will be in this season, and then like I feel like we'll meet probably before the end of this season. We'll probably meet Ezra.
Think so?
Yeah.
You think so? They're gonna Ezra in Mando, not in Ahsoka?
If you flip everything, the way they introduced Ahsoka, was in Mando, so wouldn't it be prudent to introduce Sabine? And who comes with Sabine? Ezra comes with Sabine.
But I think Ezra is still lost.
I don't know if he's still lost because a lot of time has passed since he left.
They don't know where Thrawn is, and Ezra and Thrawn were together.
What if Ezra came back and Thrawn is still gone?
Huh.
And Thrawn is out in the.
But doesn't that kill the whole like idea of like what the Ahsoka show is going to be?
Not if there's a flashback in of Ezra's time.
Okay, so all right. So with that being said, that it makes what Bo said today in the mine, and she was like, "I've known a lot of Jedi."
Oh yeah, because well, she knew Kanan.
She knew Kanan, she knew Obi-Wan, she knew Ezra, she knew so like, yeah,
Anakin. She knows
she
Anakin.
she knew Anakin.
And I have a feeling she's one of the people that doesn't know Anakin's Darth Vader either.
Oh, he's really dead.
And I'm assuming
That would be so interesting for Bo and Ezra to meet up again. Oh my god, it's
And
just
she
gonna be
knew-
it's just gonna be the rebels. Oh shit! What if we get who's Zeb? What if we get Zeb? Like,
oh god, I love.
oh right,
Zeb.
could you imagine seeing a live action Lasat? Oh my god, Kevin, that would be so dope.
And
We
then
know
Hera-
Chopper's coming. Like, why wouldn't?
And then Hera.
Well, we know Hera's coming in the Ahsoka show.
I mean, if you're gonna meet one, you're meeting them all.
Might as well, dude.
Although Hera works for the Republic now, doesn't she? Isn't
She
she
does.
full on officer?
She's a yeah.
Which means we'd meet her son too.
Aww.
I forget his name.
I don't remember. Kanan's kiddo. Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck,
man,
I'm
I
all
watched-
excited for next week now.
Someone posted, I think it was a week and a half ago, someone posted, happy 4-year anniversary to one of those devastating moments in Star Wars. And it was Kanan holding back the explosion. And I was like, I didn't watch it 4 years ago. I watched it 2 years ago, but yes, it was.
I watched that on a treadmill. That was so sad.
Oh, because Tim really enjoys when I go through a show or a movie or something that he's seen like 5 years prior to that. So like I'm texting him the whole time going through Rebels. I'm like, man, it's so good. Then I get that scene. I was like, I am broken inside right now.
I was loving it. I love getting the play-by-plays.
Oh man, it was too good. But well, that's going to do it for this week. We did have some news to go over, but we do not have time because we spent so much time talking about all of the other things.
Such a good episode.
From the 2 episodes. Mandalorian was awesome. Bad Batch was great. If the next few episodes of Bad Batch shape up the way Tim and I are saying they will, I am just like floored at the amount of cool Star Wars stuff that we get to talk about for the next like 4 weeks. So stay tuned. Make sure you're following Star Wars and Scotch everywhere. Rate, review, subscribe. It really helps us out when you do. So please do that no matter where you listen and or watch. We also love to hear your opinions. So, if we got something wrong or something in an episode, feel free. Do it nicely, though, because we don't respond if you're a dick.
Yeah, sorry.
If you're nice about it, we're more than happy to be like, oh, yeah, you're right. But if you're an asshole, sorry. But you can check out Timmy's fb.gg/darkness429. He's over there pretty much streaming 9 a.m. most days except Sundays.
Or Monday or Wednesdays, because I'm here.
Yes, he's here. So 9:30ish on Wednesdays because it's, he's got to do Star Wars.
It's Star Wars time, dude. Chat can wait.
It's very important. Well, they want to hear what you got to say about Star Wars anyway.
And I always tell them, go listen to the episode.
Yeah, but then they harass you until they get something
constantly.
So, make sure you go follow Timmy's Darkness429 everywhere else on the internet as well. Kevin X Vision on Twitter, KMagic101 on Instagram, so you can hit me up there. And we're Rare Drop. You can go follow raredrop.co in all the places and check out what we got going on. We hope you have a fantastic week. We will see you for episode 3, season 3, Mandalorian, and season 2, episode 13 of The Bad Batch next week. Have a great week. And until then, Timmy.
May the force be with you.